couple of months ago, I told you I was in the middle of like 44 series or something like that. And today I wanted to give you my 2021 series update. Hello lovely book jargons, and welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new here. My name is Joana and I love to talk about books on this channel, specifically fantasy books, which is why I'm in the middle of a ton of series. A few months ago in the summer, I think it was in July, I posted a video about all my unread series, and I said I was gonna do what my friends Abby and Angela do, where every quarter I was gonna update you on series I started, series I've DNF'd, series I've caught up on or finished, and I didn't do that. So today I'm here to do this is my last end of year content video. I kind of wanted to wrap up what I did in 2021 in terms of series that I DNF'd, series that I started and caught up on, series that I started and just finished, caught up on, DNF'd, all of the things. So this is kind of like to give you a clean slate. I have, of course, we're a couple of weeks into January, so I've already been working on other series, but I will not be including these in this video. I will be mentioning those in my actual quarter wrap up, because I do want to make these like this series of videos every quarter or something like that, because I think it's interesting to see also, so you know what I'm kind of going to be starting and stuff like that. So this is 2021 only, and I have categories of series I've just plain started, series I've started and caught up on or finished, series I have DNF'd. This could be series that were on my ongoing list in July and then I decided actually I'm not going to finish it, or series where, for example, I read the first book of and I was like, I'm never going to continue. Series I just made progress in, and series that I've finished that I started before 2021. So unfortunately, my biggest category is series that I started. It really is crescendo, like this is the highest, and then started and caught up on is the next, and then DNF'd, then made progress in, and then finished. So the series that I started in 2021. First series I started in 2021 was the Greenbone Saga by Fonda Lee. I read Jade City. I had started Jade War. I read 70 pages of it, but then I put it down because I wasn't in the mood for it. I was loving it, but there was something that I was like, nope, it's the end of the year. I started in December. It's the end of the year. I just want to read fluffy contemporary romances because I have a fantasy burnout, and so I didn't continue with Jade War. But I did start the Greenbone Saga. I really like Jade City. Less than maybe some people, but I could see myself really loving Jade War already with those 70 pages, and then I have Jade Legacy now to read. But yeah, I did start that series and I'm very excited to continue on, and I do want to finish that this year. Next up, I started the City Watch series, which is a sub-series of the Discworld series, and I started this one by reading Guards. I also have yet to continue on. I've only read this book. I really like this one. I have a review for it here on the channel. I was part of a live show with Joana and Gregory, and it was so much fun to discuss this book with them. It was something that I never thought I was gonna read, and then I ended up really liking. So I do want to make progress with this series, but this is not a series. It's like kind of almost a series of standalones, and so it's so hard to just think, oh, I'm gonna pick up the next Discworld book, because it's not like you end up in a cliffhanger and you're like, I need the next book. So I do want to make progress. I've already been talking to Joana and Gregory about continuing on, but I did start this and I'm excited to continue. I did also start the Death sub-series of the Discworld by reading Mort. I also want to continue this one, and I think that these are the two series that I will love the most, because one has like social commentary and one has more philosophical questions, Mort being the philosophical question one. So I think I'm really gonna like this series and I'm excited to continue on. Next up is one where I'm not sure if I'm gonna continue on or not, so I'm for now tentatively leaving it on this side of the list thing, and that is The Nameless Republic, with the first book being Son of the Storm by Suyi Davis Okunboa. I didn't really like book one that much. The first book was in my most disappointing books of last year. I really thought this was going to be a new favorite and was just good. So I don't know if I'm going to continue on or not. This one, it's out there. I don't know. We'll see if I feel the pull to read book 2 when it comes out. If I don't, then the series will be DNF, but I did read this first book. Then I also started the Wayfarer books, the first book being The Long Way to a Small Angry Planet. Again, just like the Discworld books, this is a series of companion novels, so I don't really feel the urge to continue on. Plus, I don't have the audiobooks for the other books, and I loved the narrator of this series, which is sometimes the problem when you immersion read and then you have to continue because the narrator makes this also real, and the narrator is what kind of like, I don't know, gives you that extra little oomph to the series. So This one I do want to continue, but I'm not in a rush again because it is a series of companion novels. Then a series that I started and I loved and I didn't continue, I'm literally halfway through the series, is The Long Press Quartet by Daniel Abraham. I read A Shadow in Summer and A Betrayal in Winter. Absolutely loved both of those. I have An Autumn More and Price of Spring left, and I know those books are going to devastate me, so yeah, I do need to make them a priority because I think I'm gonna love them. Then we have Mistborn Era 2. I read the first two, which is, I think it was Alley of Law and then Shadows of Self. So I have Bands of Mourning left, and in a couple of months I'll have The Lost Metal coming out. So I do want to read the next book, the last book that I have now to read, to be caught up on, and then read Lost Metal as soon as it comes out this year. Then I started the 5 Warrior Angel series by Brian Lee Durfee, the first book being The Forgetting Moon, which is also the book that I read. I was supposed to have buddy read the second one with Abby and Sam, because we buddy read the first one, and they read it, but I was just, this is when my fantasy slump started. It was like in September. And I just couldn't bring myself to read it. I read the first 200 pages or so, and I was like, listen, I know I'm not in the right headspace to read you now, and therefore I'm not going to enjoy you, and I know you're going to be a favorite book, so I'm going to put you down, because when I want to come back to you, I want to be fully committed. And that's kind of the story there. I did love the first one so much, it made it onto my favorites of the year. Those books have everything I love in them, and I don't know, I just like, reading those books just, it kind of a little bit scratched my Song of Ice and Fire itch, and I love them. Then I read Serpent and Dove by Shelby Mahurin. I was totally, absolutely planning on finishing the series last year, and I didn't. So I have the last 2 books left, but I did. This was a reread to finally continue on, and I do need to finally continue on because otherwise I'm going to start forgetting things again. Then I started the Life Ship Traders trilogy by Robin Hobb by reading Ship of Magic. I am desperately needing to get back into this world. I need Robin Hobb again in my life, and apparently I need pain and suffering. That's what I need. I don't know. No thanks, but with Robin Hobb it's worth it. So yeah, I read Ship of Magic and I absolutely loved it. I didn't know if I was gonna love it because it's so different from the Farseer trilogy, but yeah, I had a wonderful time. I love these characters so much. I cannot wait to see what Robin Hobb is gonna do with the characters over the next 2 books. And I'm very nervous to see what she does with them, but I'm also very excited to see it. And then to continue on in the realm of the Eldenings in general. So, Ship of Magic, and I hope to continue on this year. Again, here, I don't know. I read Dune by Frank Herbert. I will not be reading all of it, that I know. But I do have the next 2, which is Dune Messiah and Children of Dune or something like that. I don't know. But I have the next 2, and I do want to read those because those are like the original trilogy, but I don't know, I'm not really at all itching to get to them, so I'm not sure if I will. The jury is out on that one as well. Then I started the graphic novel series Monsters. I read the first 2 volumes, if I'm not mistaken, so I need to continue on. Definitely need to continue on because I love it. I think the art style is just so beautiful, and it's a great series to follow if you like fantasy in a graphic novel style form. Then I started the Winter Night trilogy by reading The Bear and the Nightingale. I still have to continue on. I read the first one in January and never continued on because I wanted to read them in the cold months, and now I don't know. I honestly have no excuse why I haven't finished it yet, but maybe it'll happen this year. I hope so. It needs to happen. And everyone has been reading it now with Evie, and I feel bad that I didn't join the read along, but I'm trying to follow the mood. But also I'm kind of feeling FOMO because everyone is reading Winter Night right now, and I want to be reading Winter Night, but then I'm like, I'm also reading other books that I'm loving, so it's like a trade-off, you know, if you will. But I did start this. And the final series that I started and just started is The Wheel of Time by Robert Jordan. I read The Eye of the World in December, so a 15-book journey awaits me, apparently. I did really like The Eye of the World. I was not expecting to love it. I was fully expecting to read the first book and say, yeah, one and done. But actually, no. So I did really like it, and I'm continuing on with the series for now, at least. Then we have the series that I started and caught up on / finished. The first one is The Faithful and the Fallen by John Gwynne. I read the whole entire quartet last year. It was one of my biggest surprises, and my favorite book of the year was Ruin, which is the 3rd book in this quartet. I read the first book in January, and then I read the second one, I think it was like in March or something like that, and then I read Ruin and Wrath back to back. Love them so much. I love John Gwynne. I cannot wait to read his Of Blood and Bone trilogy, and then the new series with The Shadow of the Gods. I'm so excited. I love his writing, I love his characters, I love everything about this series, I love it. Then I read the first and second book of the Threadlight series by Zach Argyle, which are the only 2 books that are out right now. I will probably reread these 2 books because the third book is coming out this summer. But yeah, I do have a review of that series up here. The first one being Voice of War, second one being Stones of Light. They are self-published fantasy books that are super fast-paced and quite short, to be honest. So they did make it to my most surprising books of the year, so I really like those as well. Then I started and finished the Books of Babel by Josiah Bancroft. I read Send in a Sense and Armor of the Sphinx back to back. Then I read Hot King in June, and then I read Fall of Babel when it came out in November. I think I may have finished it at the end of November or beginning of December. Unfortunately, The Fall of Babel was one of my most disappointing books of the year. Send in a Sense was one of my most surprising books of the year, and Armor of the Sphinx was one of my favorite books of the year. I absolutely love the first three books. I think the second one I already started having problems with the structure, but I was like, okay, I guess I'm along for the ride, but it really bothered me in the last one, so. But I did start and finish that series. I did a reread of 3 series, well, technically 2 and then 1 like half. So the first series I fully reread is Mistborn Era 1. I just, reread them. I love them. It's my favorite series of all time. It had to happen. The other series I reread for a video series project was The Hunger Games by Suzanne Collins. I mean, I have videos of all 3 books up here because I wanted to reread them 10 years later to see if they held up for me. So I did that. Then I started and finished the Daevabad trilogy. So I had to reread the first 2 to finally finish it out, and I did it, and I loved it. It was one of the best things that happened to me this summer, was to read this with friends and talk about the series with friends. I just love the series so much, one of my favorites as well, and I was just so happy to reread the first 2 and finish it out. And yeah, it was just such a good experience, and I loved Daevabad so much. Another series I started and finished this year was the Winnowing Flame trilogy by Jen Williams. This one was so good, also one of my favorites of all time now. I think that last book is just brilliant. I don't know, I just love the characters so much. The world is super interesting, the lore is super interesting, but the characters take the cake. They're amazing. There's humor in it, there's high stakes, there's emotional attachments, and there's just everything that you can love in a fantasy series. And yeah, I really loved it. I was part of a discussion for this as well, so that made it even better to talk about it with other people. And so yeah. Then I put this in the caught up section, but I'm no longer caught up. Skyward by Brandon Sanderson. I was caught up until he published Titanic and all the short stories. So technically I'm no longer caught up, but I did read Skyward and Starsight and the first novella, which was Sunreach, I think. So I did read those. So now I have Read On, Evershore, and Titanic to read. But I thought I was caught up when I made this list, but no longer. And then the final series I started and completed was the Brown Sisters. This is a romance series of like companion novels following 3 sisters and their love stories. It was really fun. I really liked the last one, and the last 2 I really liked. The first one I was just like meh, but the last 2 I really enjoyed. We have the series that I DNF'd. So in my previous video I had a bunch of series I was like, oh, I don't know yet. So some of those I've DNF'd, some of them are just books that, like I said earlier, I read the first one and I know I won't be continuing on. The first one and this one I know will make a few people sad. This is a possible DNF. It depends on what I hear of the second book when it comes out. That is Between Earth and Sky, which the first book is Black Sun. I liked it, but I didn't think it was the best, or like I don't even have many recollections apart from that first chapter and a few scenes that pop in my head, but I didn't love it, you know? It's kind of like The Nameless Republic with Son of the Storm. I liked these books fine, but they didn't blow me away, and I don't have really a burning interest to continue on. So this one, I don't know yet. Then we have Legendborn by Tracy Dion. I think I really liked the first book when I read it, but then the ending was a bit like, for me, like, I don't know, like the more I sit with it, the more I was like, ugh, that ending was just, I don't know. I felt like it was a missed opportunity. I don't know. There's something about the ending that I don't even really remember everything, but I just know that I have that little bit of a bitter taste in my mouth from it, you know? So I don't know about this one. I don't know. If I hear amazing things about the second book, I will, but I don't know. Then we have From Blood and Ash. I did really like that first one, but I've heard so many mixed things about the, like, no, not even mixed, that everyone hates the third book. And honestly, I like the series. I think I was a lot more positive when I read it because I was in that high of like, oh, fantasy romance, you know, like the high you get from reading something like that. And then when the high kind of goes down, you're like, ugh, but do I really want to read these huge books? I don't know. Kingdom of Flesh and Fire is apparently really good. And if I hear that her other series and her other books become so good, and it's like, okay, it's only A Crown of Gillibone that's a dud, but it's the only one, then I may do it, but I don't think so. Then we have Dawnless Night, which is also a self-pub. The first book is Winds of Strife. Unless I hear from people that felt similarly to me about the first one, unless I hear that they really like the second one and it has improved a lot, I may read it, but I don't know. I was just frustrated with the characters in this one. Then we have Children of Blood and Bone. I actually ultimately decided to unhaul the whole series. Well, the whole series. I don't know what she's doing with the third book because I haven't heard anything about it, but I decided to unhaul the first and the second book. I had the second one to read. I won't be continuing. I won't be reading the second one, and I just unhaul the series and hopefully pass it along to someone who will like it. Then we have The Gilded Wolves. This one, I don't know, there's something about this series that always makes me want to go back. This is not anyway, nothing is a definite DNF. It could be that one day in 10 years I wake up and I'm like, I'm gonna read The Gilded Bones. But I don't know. This is, did I say Gilded Bones? I mean Gilded Wolves by Roshani Chakshi. Okay, this to me felt like a Six of Crows, Final Empire thing coming together, like a heisty novel, but it wasn't as well executed as those latter two. So yeah, I don't know. I never felt the urge to continue with the series. It is now completed, if I'm not mistaken, but there was something, it's like, it has a little bit of something that I'm getting from reading Mask of Mirrors, like a little bit of whimsy to it and like just beautiful that makes me want to read it, but I don't know. Then we have the Potter Mage trilogy. I decided to unhaul the first one. I give it to Klaus, and that's it. I'm not going to continue on. I just won't. Then we have a series that I made progress in and or caught up on. We have Akatar, which I read the latest installment, which was Court of Silver Flames. Was that the one? Yeah, Court of Silver Flames. I read it. It came out. I have a vlog of it. And yeah, now I'm waiting for the next Sarah J. Maas book. Then I did make progress in Throne of Glass. I read Queen of Shadows and Empire of Storms last year. Spoiler alert, I finished it now. You've already seen it on the channel. But by the end of last year, I still had Tower of Dawn and Kingdom of Ash left. And then I did make progress in The Queen's Thief by reading The Queen of Atolia. And with this one, I've decided I'm only going to read that last one, The King of Atolia, which was the original trilogy. And then after that, I won't continue on. I'm going to end it there. And then we have a series that I've just plain finished. I finished The Puppy War by reading the last book, The Burning God. And I finished Strange the Dreamer by reading Muse of Nightmares, which was the second and final book in that series. So that's a lot of series. Let's see how many ongoing I have still. Well, with all that being said, I still have 40 series that I have ongoing. 40. I just watched, literally while I was getting ready for this video, I watched my friend Abby's video and she has 10. Well, technically she has 23, but she's crazy and she counts series where she cannot even make progress in. So I don't count that. I'm not insane. These are literally all series I could make progress in. She has 10. I have 40. 40 series. It's a lot of series. My goal for this year, as you know, is to finish out series. So I have a lot of series where I have one book left, but some of them I have to reread. Some of them I have to reread to be able to finish. And those are the ones that I'm like, so intimidating, kind of, you know. So I think I'm going to make a priority of finishing off series where I don't have to read and then see how I feel about the other ones. How about that? But yeah, 40 series. 40. That's a lot. Spoiler alert, I am starting other series in this first quarter. So I hope that by the second quarter, when we do this update in like the end of March, at the beginning of April, that I will have good news for you, that my series number will be down. Let's aim. Okay, because I know I'm going to be starting a bunch of series. Let's aim to be at, I don't want to be too, let's aim to be at 35. So with finishing series and starting new ones, let's hope to get this number to 35 and then get it down by 5 every quarter. How about that? Let's try that. That's going to be our goal. I'll see you in April, see if I succeeded. And that is going to be it for me today. Let me know in the comments below how many series you're in the middle of, if you know, and if you care, because there's people like Angela, and she's like, I don't care how many series I'm in the middle of. And I'm like, girl, I want to be you. I want to be you, but I do care because I'm always scared to then have to reread books. That's the thing about series. It's like, if you wait too long in between series, then you have to constantly reread the previous book or books to remember, and it's annoying. So just read them back to back, you know? Which is kind of also a goal for me this year. But let me know in the comments down below if you know how many series you're in the middle of, if you care, and if you just want to let me know you really leave a dragon emoji. And until next time, happy reading.